Call to order the February 8th, 2022 Transportation Committee meeting. Present are Councilman Cagnalotti, Councilwoman Cazzo. Absent today are Councilman Michael Mason, Chase Melanson, and Dempsey Lambert. We will move on to the invocation and the pledge led by Councilman Cagnalotti.
Heavenly Father, we ask your blessings as we gather tonight to discuss and handle the transportation issues for Ascension Parish. Please bless us and guide us in all of our actions, and may your Holy Spirit be with us at all times, for we place our lives in your hands, always and forever, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It takes a while getting used to being here again, as opposed to being virtual.
It really does.
We'll move on to my chairman's report. I don't have anything to add. Public comment, if the public would like to add any comments, you have 3 minutes to speak. Moving on to general business, what I would like to do in the interest of time is we're going to move the department report, which includes the Move Ascension report, from item B and put that after item P. So we have, we'll move on to item A now, acceptance of minutes of the December 7th, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Cazzo, second by Councilman Cagnalotti. Any discussion? None. So moved. Item C. Approval of change order 04 for Henry Road at AP 930 RAB and Move Ascension 1808, adding $20,499.46 for erosion matting and adding 37 calendar days.
This was needed to, the street lights were very close to the bottom of the ditches. It created some very steep slopes, so I found a product and a company that would install to where the slopes were stabilized, and it would not be a difficult task for us to cut grass behind it. So it was something you couldn't anticipate, but whenever everything was put in place, it was something that had to be done. And the 37 days is was needed to get the product ordered and put in place.
Very good.
Motion.
We have a motion by Councilman Cagnalotti, second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Any further discussion? I just want to say that roundabout at Henry Road is fantastic. I've actually sat in my truck now and watched parents go by in the morning just to see how well it works, and it's a dream. So great job on that. No objections, so moved. Item 5E, approval of change order number 3 for the Seabro Road Safety Widening Project for a total increase of $82,082.72. This change order includes adjustments.
I'm sorry, did you get D?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I passed D.
Yep.
But,
Yep. This was strictly days.
yes, I'm sorry, yes. Approval of change order 5 for Henry Road. This is item D. It's another Henry Road one. That's what confused me. And this one is an addition of days.
This one hopefully is the last change order. It will allow, once the street lights are activated, they have to go through a 14-day burn period. So this should encompass all of that. The meter pan is not in place yet, but we're hoping it's done this week. So once that's done, this will allow for that installation plus the 14-day burn period. So hopefully this will be the last change order for the roundabout.
Motion to approve, and we have a second. Motion by Councilman Cagnalotti. Any objections? Any discussion? None. So moved. Now on to item 5E. Thank you. Approval of change order number 3 for the Seabro Road Safety Widening Project for a total increase of $82,082.72. This change order includes adjustments needed to address field conditions. I did talk to Joey about this before, and remember this project, we've already had another change order on it that reduced the cost by about $400,000. So even with this, we're still well under budget. Good job, by the way.
Yeah.
Additional lime treatment that was needed that you couldn't anticipate until you actually had the dirt in place. So that was some of it. There were some catch basins that needed to be added. So that's all. You can see it's quite a few items, but that's kind of the highlights of the overrun parts.
If I may,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman. Joey, thank you so much. I've had to reach out to you on a couple of occasions about this project. It's unbelievable to me that it got done as quickly as it did, with as little drama in a lot of ways as there was. I mean, certainly there were people that had issues from time to time, but those seem to be able to be resolved, and we appreciate it so much. We appreciate a good contractor, and thank you for your supervision of this project.
We had a good consultant overseeing everything. What's left is now just to dress it up, so everything should make it prettier and prettier. We got a final lift of asphalt to put on, a few driveways to install. I think all the pipes in place. So it's the final lift, and then the dressing of the slopes and seed and fertilizing and striping and all that.
Striping. So what do we anticipate as a final completion date?
I'd say about a month or a month and a half, something like that.
That's fantastic.
The cold weather kind of slows things down a bit. The wearing course has to be put down in a temperature greater than 50 degrees, consistent 50 degrees. So we might have to wait a little while for that.
Yeah, a few days for sure.
Right.
Thank you again personally for the work that you did on it. Thank Jeff for getting us into Move Ascension. I think it's going to be a huge success to have that, and a much safer area for our citizens in a highly trafficked area. So thank you so much.
Right. Thank you.
Councilman Cagliotti, did you make a motion on that? I thought I heard you.
Yes, she did.
You had the motion? Okay.
And I second.
Motion by Councilwoman Cazzo, second by Councilman Cagliotti. Any further discussion? None. Any objections? None. So moved. Item 5F, approval of change order number 2 for LA 73 at Brown Road. It's a balancing change order to adjust the quantities to all items as needed for the completion of the project. This change order adds 402 calendar days due to the COVID pandemic and time needed to negotiate and avoid a possible claim by the contractor. Yeah, this has been done for a while too. It looks great out there.
This the same consultant that acted as the project engineer needed time to negotiate, and all kind of COVID issues and other kind of issues as to what it delayed. But the whole goal was to avoid a claim by the contractor, which gets messy and all that. So they were able to finally sit at table whenever everybody recovered and all that stuff to discuss the changes or the contractor had, they thought, a legitimate claim, but whenever the discussion was made, it was mostly calmed to where there's very little. There was some concessions, but very little. So that's why the days are so lengthy. But this is, again, to close out this project and finally put it to bed.
Fantastic. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Cazzo, second by Councilman Cagliotti. Any further discussion? None. Any objections? None. So moved. Item 5G, approval of substantial completion of LA 73 at Brown Road.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. We have a motion by Councilman Cagliotti, second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Any discussion? None. Any objections? None. So moved. Item 5H, approval to install no parking on pavement signs at North Lone Oak Road at West Lone Oak Road. This was a request of a school bus driver, and it has been approved by Councilman Cagliotti. Yes, sir. Let me get your microphone on.
Thank you. Am I on?
You're on.
Joey called me about this, and it was a school bus driver that did call and request. When there are people parked on the road, she has a difficult time getting around them, and it's difficult getting kids picked up and dropped off. So I think it's a very simple, fix for that area. So I wholeheartedly approve it, and it is in my district. So I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Cagliotti, a second by Councilwoman Cazzo. Any further discussion? Any objections? None. So moved. Item 5I, roads to be considered for acceptance into the parish maintenance system as follows. Reminder, we in the past we do these individually. Let's see. Let me see. So it doesn't take too long. If y'all want to all look at them, it looks like, I looked at this before, there were no issues on any of them. They're all in good shape, and they were inspected well, which is, I don't know if y'all remember, but when I first started doing this, we just approved them, or we found out there were cracks in them and that there were potholes and everything. So we've kind of stopped that, and we haven't done these in a long time, but we don't have any problems with these. So we'll move on to Highland Trace, Jim Moran Road, 181 feet.
Motion to approve the
Second.
addition to the parish maintenance system of Jim Moran Road.
We have a second by Councilman Cagnolati. No further discussion, no objections, so moved. Highland Trace, Trace Avenue, 1,779 feet.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Cagliotti, second by Councilwoman Casso. Any further discussion? Any objections? None. So moved. The Cottages at Savannah Row, Calm Lane, 157 feet.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Casso, second by Councilman Cagliotti. Any further discussion? None. Any objections? None. So moved. Chalet Avenue, 540 feet.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cagliotti, second by Councilwoman Casso. Any further discussion? None. Any objections? None. So moved. Cottage Lane, 264 feet.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Casso, second by Councilman Cagliotti. Any further discussion? None. Any objections? None. So moved. Cozy Way, 1,306 feet.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Cagliotti, a second by Councilwoman Casso. Any further discussion? None. Any objections? None. So moved. The Villas at Rosewood, Brookshire Drive, 898 feet.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Casso, second by Councilman Cagliotti. Any further discussion? None. Any objections? None. So moved. Item 5J, approval to amend the master contract for professional engineering, design, and related services, Move Ascension, for an additional $3 million, thus increasing the total contract amount from $12 million to a new not-to-exceed amount of $15 million for the Move Ascension program to be shared between the 11 contracted design firms. Joey and Jeff, this is just so you don't have to say anything, but I will add a little something to it. What we're looking at here, and let me pull it up because I had my notes somewhere. Oh boy, I thought I had this sitting. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so what we've got here, we have the first three projects are really kind of mega fun projects with Move Ascension. It's the LA 30 Buzzard Roost Connector, and Jeff, please step in and correct me if I'm saying this wrong. This is a phase one design for sufficient right-of-way for preparation of right-of-way maps and acquisition of right-of-way. We also have a LA 30 roundabout at Buzzard Roost. For that, we have about $1.68 million in federal funds.
That's correct.
That are available for this, and that's why we're doing this. We're doing this pre-construction work so we can make use of those federal funds. We also have the US 61 Super Street project and LA 44 at Lowe's Avenue roundabout, for which I think we have about $9.5 million in federal funds, and the remaining funds from that are split between a CEA from the City of Gonzales and Ascension Parish. And this project extends from the red light just north of LA 44, which is another Lowe's entrance in that area, to just south of Pupera. It'll be broken down to 6 projects with 6 separate design teams, which is a huge get for the parish. It's like a $12 million project that we're moving forward on there that's really going to fix airline all the way through Gonzales. There's that portion of it, which the goal is to move about $1.85 million from the Mega Infrastructure Fund. Then there's the second part of it. We have multiple other construction projects. LA 73 at Bluff Road Connector, for that we have about $3 million in federal funds. The LA 44 at Parker Road Roundabout, parish government is applying for House Bill 2 state bonds for construction, and this is part of a larger project in which we're working with the CEA, with the school board, to improve traffic around the entire new high school. So that's going to encompass, basically we're looking at 2 roundabouts, adding lanes to Parker Road from 44 to 929, and then from 929 down to Highway 42, adding a turn lane there, really improving that entire area. And the goal is to get a lot of this done as much as we can before the new school is built to ease traffic in that area. So that's a lot going on there, and I know from talking to Jeff about this, there's more projects out there that we could be doing. If we have more money, we could be doing more pre-construction work, which leads to getting more federal and state dollars.
That's correct.
Just that's kind of the basic summary of that. So If we can get a motion,
Do you need a more specific motion about how you want these, how we need these funds transferred? If so, I'd be happy to make a motion that we approve the item J by increasing the funds with $1.15 million from the transportation fund, and then $1.85 million from the mega infrastructure fund, so that we can specifically, I think that would help us as we
Yeah.
got to council or to finance, wherever this is going from here, to know what funds this money needs to be drawn down from.
do we have a second there?
Second.
It's my understanding that this can move to the full council because the mega infrastructure funds have to be approved by the full council. But
Finance is one and the same, so.
yeah, those are some big projects. I mean, if we're fixing up Airline Highway from basically one end of Gonzales all the way to the other, that's really big.
Yeah, I was impressed with the number of districts that are affected by that. When you look at it in the paperwork, I mean, it's almost all of us. And indirectly, all of us benefit when we're moving back. All you have to have is a wreck on the airline to know that it affects everything on the other streets like 73 and 621, et cetera. So we're delighted to have this. And I want to reiterate, Aaron, how important it is that we get these things done, ready for money to be allocated to them from the state and federal government. We've known that for years. We've been dealing with that for years. I think the public is coming on board, beginning to understand that this is just how it has to be done. If you don't have your preliminary work done, then you're not going to get the opportunity to take down funds from the state or the federal government. So I'm delighted to make the motion. I'm thrilled that Councilman Cagnolati has seconded it, and we look forward to a unanimous vote.
We don't have any choices on seconds for this committee tonight.
Yeah, no pun. I wasn't joking at all.
I'd just like to add a comment. I'm sure this additional $3 million will help with, same types of services we did for right-of-way design, preliminary engineering. So it's going to be used by all 11 firms, not just one, right?
That's right. The whole pool, as many projects as we have, we'll push out assignments. And I have a little bit further details of.
Then once you get closer to the microphone, Jeff, if you would.
Yes, as I think we have a good number of new projects coming on board that we were successful in securing some federal funds for the construction. So this will help fund the pre-construction design efforts, produce right-of-way maps, and all those pre-construction activities that go along with that to be able to then acquire the right-of-way where some is required, and then use these federal dollars to go and construct the projects. And I do have a little bit more detail on these projects in my presentation that you'll see just a little bit, as well as some new information I'd like to share with you on some funding opportunities.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So we have a motion, and we have any further discussion? None? Any objections? None? So moved. Great job. Item 5K, approval for the parish president to enter into agreements with Shell Pipeline Company for pipeline casing work required as part of the 929 at Parker Road roundabout project. We have a motion by Councilman Cagnolati.
I'll take the second, and I have a
A
question.
second. And
Joey, how many years have we been trying to get this done?
I could go by people. I don't know if Jackie was here then, but I know Ben was in that discussion. So it's probably before Ben Lowry was here, which is quite a while back, long time.
Yeah, it takes an inordinate amount of time. But
Right.
thanks to Aaron's work, your work, Jeff's work, and certainly all the administration that's made this possible, we're gonna get that Shell pipeline encased so we can put a roundabout there.
Well, yeah, it's done. It's finished.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
right.
We're gonna pay them back.
Yeah.
I saw him working on it. It was pretty cool work to watch sometimes.
I bet. I didn't really realize they had already begun on that project.
Do we have any further discussion? None? Any objections? None? So moved. Item 5L, approval to grant the parish president the authority to enter into required utility relocation agreements with utility companies as part of the pre-construction efforts for projects in the Move Ascension program.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Casso, second by Councilman Cagnolati. Any discussion? None? Any objections? None? So moved. Item 5M, approval to grant the parish president the authority to execute sales documents for the acquisition of required right-of-way as part of the pre-construction efforts for the projects in the Move Ascension program. Motion by Councilman Cagliati, a second by Councilwoman Caso. Any further discussion? None. Any objections? None. So moved. Item 5N, approval of change order MC-03 to extend the contract time for the 2020 Asphaltic concrete reconstruction and overlay improvements contract by 1 year to February 2nd, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Caso, a second by Councilman Cagliati. Any further discussion? Any objections? None. So moved. Item 5O, approval to amend the contract of T. Baker Smith to a new expiration date of February 7th, 2023 for the LA Highway 3127 Extension Design Services. Motion by Councilman Cagliati, a second by Councilwoman Caso. Any further discussion? None. Any objections? None. So moved. Item 5P, resolution to adopt the inventory and proposed priorities for capital road improvements in accordance with the Unitary Plan of Operations for selection of parish roads for new construction and maintenance for the parish road system for 2022, 2023, and 2024.
This is
I'll make that
required.
motion, and then I'll look forward to some discussion.
Okay, yes, we have a motion
Second.
and a second, and Councilwoman Caso for discussion.
So just go over these with us. Joey, tell us what we're going to be doing.
Actually, Jeff had put a lot of this together, just showing the expenditures expected, and this is just what's expected. It's not etched in stone. It's just what we anticipate to spend money on in 2022, 23, 24. It is required by the auditors to show that we are spending the state monies that we get responsibly, and we're giving them information as to where we're actually putting our money for them to scrutinize if needed.
Excellent. This is a great list. Thank you very much.
Any further discussion?
I
don't want to rush you.
I thought I had looked at all of these, but I must have missed a page, so I'm just scrolling down a bit. Nope, everything. I recognize them all. Thank you so much. No further questions.
Great. Any objections? None? So moved. Now, we're moving back to item 5B, department report. And I will, as I mentioned to y'all earlier, y'all can be as brief as y'all like. I know that we've all reviewed it, and we have looked at a lot of this already, so no need to stay here all night if y'all don't want to.
Last night was long enough.
Yeah, the first part, is just DOTD's list of things coming up and their active projects. LA 44 at 941, everybody knows the roundabout that's proposed there, and it's in a utility relocation phase. It's very high profile. LA 74, the entirety of LA 74 in Ascension Parish is due to start in late March, and I've always told people it's not going to be a nice project. It's going to be very messy because the base course is poor, and there's parts of it that is really poor, so they're going to have to do some extensive work. So it's going to be a good project to avoid if you're driving around the parish. If you can avoid 74 starting in late March, it'd be a great thing to do.
Councilman Cagliati.
Just a quick question. Are they going to have, I guess DOTD is going to publish detour routes to get around any construction?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we'll
Let's
assist.
get
I know
those out
Martin
there.
McConnell will pick up on their notices and include it in our publications.
Good. Thank you.
The LA 620, the US 621 at 3038, which is Cornerview Road, is near completion. They just have striping and signs to put up. That's a safety improvement with offset left turn lanes. The LA 30 at LA 3115 project is due to start. Well, it's actually started. They've done some drainage work there, but that's going to add a left turn lane also. And it's actually just outside of the parish, but a lot of our parishioners go through there. And you see, I only pay attention to the project that's going to be let in the near future, which is LA1 from Donaldsonville up to the Parish line, LA18, which is River Road. As soon as you get off of the bridge to the north, River Road there is going to be redone. LA73 at 75 is going to have a turn lane. 934 is Gold Place Road. LA30 roundabouts, very important project, big project, is due to be let in June of this year. The Ascension Parish Overlay Program, Jeff Burst was very instrumental on getting that project going. It's due to be let in June. It's going to overlay about 7 projects with a lot of federal funding, thanks to Jeff's diligence on taking advantage of money and having that match money available. The roundabout right by the parish born of Church Point and Roddy, that's another project that we're hoping, it's actually scheduled to be in July, but Jeff has informed me because he keeps us very aware of taking advantage of opportunities with being shovel ready. That project has been cleared because we included it in the Roddy Road clearing project, so the bulb out for the roundabout has been cleared. ETEL has been nice and aggressive. They're moving their utilities right now, so it's something that Jeff can report to DOTD to say that if there's a slot open, we can put this thing in the front and get it done sooner than July. So that's the game plan there.
I have a quick question. I'm kind of jumping ahead with some things. I noticed we're looking at bridges, H.H. Wilson and Manchac Acres Road Bridge. I just want to make sure that we're coordinating with the stormwater management plan, that we're making sure that if we're going to replace these bridges, we're doing it that's going to improve drainage also.
Correct. They're going to be replaced with box culverts in both instances.
Great. Okay,
Yes.
good. Do y'all have any questions, specific questions? I know Joey don't want to be here all night. He's got more fun things to do.
Just the ongoing road rehab contract with R.J. Daigle. They finished task 1. They're well into task 2. So there's numerous roads there. They're going to be starting in the Donaldsonville area the next couple of days. They're going to be on Brittany Road near Sorrento, but there's a lot of other projects that's all going to be done. We're also going to do some striping of the roads that we're redoing now, and some roads that have just needed striping for a long time. So we have a nice long list of projects that we're going to be striping. The other main project is the Manchac Acres Road Bridge over Muddy Creek. We had a gas line that was in the way. They finished that today, so the gas line is out of the way. We also had plans, and that should be done very soon, to move a water line that was in the way. So that's going to be done. It's going to be bored out of harm's way. The contractor, I guess this is another supply issue, a lot of issues that we've had with getting supplies. I had to make the commitment to the contractor, the supplier, that we were going to do this project back in November so that we could have the boxes on site in March. So it took that long of planning ahead in order to get this project moving. So the contractor is going to start towards the latter part of this month, and then in March he should be able to receive those boxes and actually move on this project, hopefully very quickly. The Move Ascension project, we talked about Henry and 930. There's just the street lights to be activated. That's what's left there, and putting in some right-of-way markers, very minor things there. Braud, we talked about before. There's just mostly dressing. The north ditch has not been smoothed out through its entirety, but that has started. A lot of driveways that have been done, some left to be done, but that's well on the way. Germany and Airline, we have a contractor that's doing a lot of preliminary work there. Yet again, there's a traffic signal pole that is delaying some work, but the contractor is working towards redoing his sequence of construction to where he can get out there fairly soon and do a lot of preparation work to widen, because it's widening on either side of the existing Germany Road, and that one's going to be a mirror image of Duplessis Road on the opposite side, adding left and right turn lanes. So we should see some activity there shortly in the next couple of weeks. Riding Road's clearing and grubbing is winding down. That's just about all done. We got a little bit of fence left to do. They finished all the stump grinding on it, so that project is finishing up. Henry Road, we are still waiting on signed contracts. As soon as I get that, we're going to do a pre-construction conference, and we'll get that thing moving. On to the bridges. Beginning of this week, I gave a notice to proceed to the 2 contractors that are doing inspection work on our parish only bridges. So it's Huval and Associates and Fort and Tablada. They're going to have teams out there and they're going to inspect bridges and give me a report showing what work needs to be done to improve those bridges, hopefully to where, currently we have no knowledge of those bridges. We just have somebody that looks at it and says it looks okay. These people will actually put numbers to it, so we'll know the status of these bridges and also what it takes to improve them. So that process should start very soon. I did include Casey Road over Bayou Narcisse in there also. It is an off-system bridge, but the reason why I included it is that it's a load-restricted bridge, so school buses cannot cross that. So I'm including it to where hopefully we can get something moving on that to where we can improve it to where we can accommodate the school buses. Pavement preservation, each of these, everything that we pave new, we're putting a pavement preservation product on it. So I want to assure you that's what we're doing. So whenever our guys overlay a road, whenever this road rehabilitation project is finished and they overlay and rehab roads, and then also whenever we take in roads, such as what we're doing tonight, all of those roads we include in our pavement preservation program, to where we put a sealing product on it to hopefully, have our pavements last longer. So we can't put it on right now because those are temperature-sensitive products. So it's probably going to be March or April before we employ the pavement preservation contractor again. But that will be done, as soon as weather allows. And that's about all I got.
Any questions? No? Okay. Jeff, we have a Move Ascension update, and what I was excited to hear that there's more funding opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. I will be brief. I heard you loud and clear, Mr. Chairman, on brevity. So, okay, I just want to talk about construction status, and Joey hit most of it, so we'll go pretty quick on that, pre-construction. Then we'll talk about, the Move Ascension program funding, how are we funding this program, and then we'll look at some of the new Jobs Act funding opportunities out there, and then it can talk about, what's next. So, as you see, Joey mentioned a lot of this. The project's completed on the left. Actually, the last one, number 12, it is still some lighting issues, so it's not quite complete, but the project's underway. He just mentioned a 61 Germany intersection. Hopefully we're looking to, Joey will be issuing an NTP to the contractor on the 8th of March, it looks like. And then we started clearing at Parker at 929, the northeast quadrant, and the dirt pile has about 30 days from next week to be moved so we can relocate utilities and get that project let to construction. And then, what's up next for construction? As we finalize right away, we can get the utilities moved, and these are the projects. And as Joey mentioned, number 1 will be before council next week. to approve awarding the contract to the lowest successful bidder.
Jeff,
Yes.
I'd like to interrupt you for a question.
No, sure.
Councilwoman Cazzo.
Thank you, Jeff. So tell me a little bit about the LA 73 to Bluff Road connector for the benefit of the listening public. This is long needed, but we need to understand what it's going to do.
Okay. Right now, and that's actually where I'm headed next, is under design. You'll see Duplessis, Germany, 3 roundabouts on Roddy and Joseph Ario, and the 73 to Bluff Connector Road, which would be a little further south from where Sebro is. And that is a brand-new connector that connects 73 and Bluff Road. We're about 95% complete with the preliminary plan design. But as you may recall, there is a old capped abandoned landfill out there. And so right at Christmas time, actually, 2 days before Christmas, we went with DEQ, and we came up with a plan of remediation. We are working with the geotech to come up with a design so that we can minimize what we take out of there. It has to be hauled and disposed of in a proper way per DEQ requirements, which we've met with them, and they're completely on board with our plan. So we also met with DOTD about the turn lanes on Bluff onto the new connector. So the project and design has stalled a little bit till we got these items worked out with DEQ. And so as soon as we get the new design from the geotech engineer, we will continue into final plans.
Any further questions on that?
Thank you. That's sufficient. I think it's too early to anticipate a date of construction to start, right?
Well, pretty soon here in the next, I would say, month and a half or so, we'll be in a position to start acquiring right-of-way. There are very limited and or none, except a few at the tie-in points of utilities to move. So just like the St. Landry connector, as we move forward and get our DOT project permit, we'll be able to go to construction this year.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Yes. I do want to further add, and on the below that project's up next for design, you'll notice there's a 73 roundabout at that Bluff Road connector. As the chairman mentioned earlier, we were able to secure $3 million in federal funds that's going to go towards that project to acquire right-of-way, to if there's any cost share in moving utilities, and then towards the construction of that. We're actually, we're getting ready to issue that project so we can begin the topographic survey and start design here in the next couple of months. And then, of course, you see the other ones, 44 and Parker. Yes, sir.
Councilwoman
So
Cazzo.
you're talking about a connector, a roundabout at the connector with Bluff.
Yes.
That's
So that
your
connector
design.
we talked about from 73 to Bluff, we'll have turn lanes on Bluff, but it'll have a roundabout where that connector ties in on 73.
On 73.
On 73. So the roundabout will technically be on 73 where the connector ties in. And what that'll also allow us to do is remove that traffic signal at Sebro, make that a right in, right out, so people can come out right, go through the roundabout just south of there and head back north towards the interstate.
I thought that's where we were going, but the LA 73 roundabout at Bluff Road confused me.
Yeah, it should say connector. It should say
Okay.
connector.
Very good.
And then these next several here, Chairman mentioned it in his opening, that we have the 44 Parker. The parish has applied for state bond money through House Bill 2 for construction. We're going to advance the design. We are going to start design here shortly. And then all of the rest that you see, we were successful in receiving federal funds for construction of all of those. And as mentioned before, that Airline Highway Super Street project can be broken up into 5 or 6 potential separate independent construction projects. It starts at Lowe's Avenue, continues through the 44 intersection, and goes and improves various intersections all the way to South Papara. And then it also includes a roundabout on Highway 44 at the Lowe's Avenue intersection. So, and also to mention that we do have a cost share for all pre-construction activities with the city of Gonzales, that we have an IGA in place and executed for that. So other pre-construction activities, you see the activity for the right-of-way acquisition. We've are continuing to acquire as these projects move forward and develop. Just on the Duplessis and Germany projects, we have 220 parcels just on those two. So, and then of course, as Joey mentioned, we're continuing to work with the utility companies to get those lines moved so we can advance construction as soon as possible. Okay, we talked kind of about the funding. And I think you've possibly seen this slide before where the initial program funding of $35 million, and then you see between federal dollars we've been able to capture and local construction fund and traffic impact fee dollars adds another $58 million to the pot. Now, of course, we have to pay debt service out of there. We have to, fund all of the other things. But at the top right, there's a lot of unknowns there about what potentially else is out there, all these federal bills and acts over the last several years, COVID relief, et cetera, that you see here. And as I mentioned, we applied for state capital outlay, applied for a couple of very large projects and several just regular roundabout type projects. You see the MPO through the COVID relief stimulus, the omnibus bill, is $5.8 million for the Baton Rouge MPO. So those are the exact type of funds that we compete with in all the other entities, and we'll go and compete for those as well. But so that's how we fund the program thus so far, as well as what potentially else is out there. But that top up right box, you can see the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And here's a little bit more information about that. It increases the baseline funding all the way up to, over the next 5 years, $567 billion to be spent on transportation. And then you can see how it's broken up on the right side, where over 180 million of it is guaranteed money that doesn't have to go for a yearly appropriation. So what does that mean for Louisiana? Right now, Louisiana gets $3.7 billion, and they're going to receive about $6 billion. So that's an increase of over 60% to the state of Louisiana. Now, that comes in a lot of forms, and the rules haven't quite been made up yet. So some will go directly to the state for them to decide how to spend it, and I'm sure some will go to DOTD from that. Some goes to the MPOs, it's carved out specifically for the MPOs, and then some will go directly to the parishes. So as further details and as they decide how that will play out and the logistics of those, we will continue to update you as more information becomes available.
I'm going to ask a real basic question here, but is that part of the reason that we're looking at doing pre-construction work? I mean, if this money's coming in the next 5 years, it looks like we need to have a lot of projects ready for that.
That's exactly right, is there will be a lot of money coming down from the federal government over the next 5 years, and we just want to position ourselves to be at the ready.
Councilman Cagliati?
I noticed in your previous slide, you had that ARPA money, American Recovery Act.
Yes, I can go back. Oops.
Go back. One more. You see the top one, 24.5? That was dedicated, that's the first money, I think, in history that came directly from the federal government to the parish or county.
That's right.
It didn't go through the state, so it's directly coming here. We got the first installment in 2021. The second one is coming in this year.
Yes, sir. 2022.
So I think it's 12.5. I think the total is going to be 24.5.
Right, for both years. That's right.
But that's we're trying to figure out what the rules are. The CAO, John Diaz, has been working on that. We're trying to figure out, and I think I'm not going to say the longer we wait, but if we wait a little while, we'll find out that we will be able to use it on infrastructure directly, where before the rules were so tight. It had to be COVID related, it had to be overtime for employees, it had to be nurses overtime, and now they're trying to make it more flexible.
Right. That
we can use it for utilities, sewer, water, infrastructure, roads, drainage, you name it. So we're hoping that day comes soon when they make those announcements and we can start dedicating some of that money.
Yes, sir.
Accordingly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's it.
You're welcome.
All right, so just as a comparison from that previous chart, you can kind of see the Jobs Act now over the next 5 years based on the FAST Act. And So you can see, transportation, typically we operate with the federal highways on the far left, and you can see the difference. And then also split it between the guaranteed and the ones subject to future appropriations. And just to see, it's been a 377% increase with this new transportation bill. And a little bit more of that, and that's so that, and it's broken up into regular formula funds and then these new competitive fund programs. So you can see a lot of these new funding programs that will receive money over the next 5 years with, you see these here, each getting over $1 billion per year in competitive grant opportunity. And the top one is what's exciting, because between the regular funds and these new competitive funds, the regular funds are $27.5 million plus this other $12.5 million. So it'll be $40 million in a new bridge investment program, and that could provide up to $250 million to the state of Louisiana in bridge funding, both formula-driven and competitive grant opportunities over the next 5 years.
Jeff,
Yes, sir.
If I may interrupt you, I see that there's a low no emissions bus grant program. The other night we had an ITEP and they talked about possibly busing, having a central location and busing their people to the new plant. I think 170 new workers, they said. Is that the type of thing that we could look at with our, we can research this later, but look at with some of our plans to reduce traffic going to and from them, if we can get some sort of grant program for buses?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't have a slide here, but next month I'll be able to provide y'all a lot more information, but I do have some things on. When you go for these competitive federal grant opportunities, how structured it has to be, and it's going to be tied to the current administration's new priorities on like justice, equity, climate, safety, things like that, where they'll be focused on lowering carbon emissions, carbon footprint, things like that. Improved access to underserved communities and things like that. And but that is one of them. Rail is big. Multimodal transportation. But yes, reducing emissions is definitely one of the higher criteria. And just lastly, just to sum it up, just kind of what we have upcoming. Just to let y'all know, we are currently in the process of remodeling and rebranding the entire Move Ascension website. It'll be much more dynamic, user-friendly. It'll be a little bit, somewhat similar to what the Move BR is, as far as the types of information provided and the platform. So we're going to have to migrate over to a new platform. It'll take about 4 weeks or so, but here in the next if not next month's presentation or one after, should be able to have a little demo for y'all. And then, of course, we're talking about the 930 Henry roundabout. Hopefully we'll be having a ribbon cutting soon, and possibly some groundbreakings coming up. And then just the ongoing activities are just the usual ones you see, design, oversight, right-of-way acquisition, utility relocations, securing the core permits for the environmental clearances of all these projects, and moving with, inspection services. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I think we got them all out of the way during the presentation. It was a great presentation.
Fantastic. Like Aaron said, this ITEP project, we just approved to move forward. The sheriff, the school board, and us have to approve it. I think they've gotten it, 2 of the 3. They went to the Board of Commerce and Industry, and they got it approved. They said at the peak of the construction it'd be 2,500. So it's going to build up to that just for a short period, then it's going to start tapering off. But it's 3.5 years construction.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be, and they're looking very closely at traffic impact, and they're trying to not use 44, use 22, park their contractor employees somewhere else and bus them in. That's why we were looking at that opportunity for emissions grants.
Well, and I think we're going to start at the direction of the administration and in collaboration with them. We're going to start projecting out, looking 10 and 20 years out, 30 years out, strategically and following the transportation master plan of the roads to be 4-laned, and then strategically going and advancing construction and improving the intersections, whether it be roundabouts, adding turn lanes, et cetera, so that then it makes sense and you have a plan, implementation plan in place to then go out and grab some of these federal dollars we just talked about, to then 4-lane in between the nodes along the corridor. And then we'd focus, and the administration wants to focus on improving like a grid-style north, south, east, west corridors, as opposed to just spot fixes throughout the parish. And I think that's absolutely the way to go. So
CRPC is looking out to 2046.
Yes, sir.
Yep, we just need to get more money for it. I can tell you right now, 8.1 million is what we got last year for all of our transportation needs. I'm just trying to get Joey more help. I mean, that's all I'm trying to do.
Yes, sir.
But hopefully we'll find more money out there. But great meeting.
Good presentation, fantastic. Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned. I'll second that.
Thank you.
Adjourned. Thank you.